He is Gary Klein. He covers the Rams for the LA Times, joins us from Cincinnati, where the joint practice was yesterday. How would you describe what happened, Gary, between Aaron Donald and the Cincinnati Bengals?
You know, Dan, when these teams get together for joint practices, it always sounds like a great idea. And that first day, everyone's enthusiastic. It's great to be going against an opponent other than your teammate. But when it gets to the second day, frustration sets in. And, you know, the Bengals talked about, at least Zach Taylor talked about, the Super Bowl was behind them. No hard feelings. But I got to believe, you know, after 2 days of having to go against Aaron Donald and the Rams going against the Bengals, tempers flare. And, you know, Aaron Donald was in the middle of what was happening, but he was not the only one. There was punches thrown, people kicking, people shoving. Fortunately, at least as far as I know, no one was hurt. But there were helmets swinging, and it was quite a scene that led to the end of practice.
Any indication if the Rams will take any disciplinary action against Aaron Donald?
No, I would be stunned if the Rams did any kind of disciplinary thing. Sean McVay talks about, you know, you need to protect teammates. You need to stand up for yourself. They are not going to fine a player that they just gave a massive extension to, that's a leader of their team. In some way, you know, I'm sure McVay came away from that with a little bit of, I don't want to say pride, but I'm sure he walked away with, my guys stood up for each other. And even though his attitude is nothing to see here, we've forgotten about it in 30 seconds. I'd be, like I said, I'd be stunned if anything happened to Aaron Donald.
I know the NFL has told us this morning it's up to the teams. Does the NFL... Okay, what's the difference between Aaron Donald swinging helmets and Myles Garrett doing something on national TV during the regular season?
Well, I think that's a valid argument. And in today, you know, in today's media atmosphere where things are on video and they're distributed all over the world, you could make that case. But that is the NFL's policy, that what happened in practice is under the purview of the teams. And that's why I'm saying, if this was something the NFL was going to get involved in, I don't think there's any question there would be some kind of fine or discipline. But because it's the teams involved, I don't think it's going to happen.
If you're going to handicap this Rams team this year, the reason why they'll repeat is what? And the reason why they won't is what?
Well, I think the reason, if they do repeat, which we all know is very, very, very difficult, this doesn't happen. They have upgraded in a couple of positions. And I think the addition of Bobby Wagner on the defense gives them all pros at every level, with Aaron Donald, Bobby Wagner, and Jalen Ramsey leading that defense. And then even though Odell Beckham Jr., you know, is still a free agent, they traded Robert Woods. Allen Robinson, the addition of him to go along with Cooper Kupp, I think makes them stronger in a lot of ways on offense. But Dan, from what I see, the most difficult thing, the reason they may not, is just because it is such a long season. You have to be good. You have to be lucky. The breaks have to go your way. And also, I think your players have to be so motivated over that 17-game season and the playoffs to actually complete that run. I just think there's a reason why teams fatigue or people get injured, and it just doesn't work out.
You know, it's an interesting team. You got big personalities there. Then you have the Matt Stafford situation. At least it felt like it was front burner. Now, where do we stand with Stafford's elbow and health status going into the season long term?
Well, I think in the short term, he's going to be fine. You know, McVay, of course, caused a firestorm when he said it was abnormal, you know, for a quarterback, and that he was feeling pain more like a baseball injury. So Stafford has played, he's going into his 14th season. He's got things, you know, parts of his body that I'm sure ache all the time. And I think his right arm is going to be a project through the season. They're going to have to manage it. At this point, you know, over the last 2 days, he looks as good as ever. You know, he's firing passes all over the place, but they haven't started hitting him yet. He hasn't had his arm yanked by J.J. Watt or anyone else yet. So I think it's something they're going to have to manage. The way they did it this offseason was to have him not throw. That seems to at least have put him in a position to be effective, you know, at the start of the season. but I think it's an ongoing thing that he's going to have to manage the rest of his career.
Yeah, Sean McVay made this more of a story, so he can't be, you guys are making, a big deal of. No, you made a big deal. We would have said, oh, maybe tenderness in his elbow. The Rams more likely to repeat or miss the playoffs, in your opinion?
Oh, I think they'll make the playoffs. I don't know that I would go so far as to say they're going to repeat, but the NFC West, I think, is not as strong as it was last year. The Seahawks don't have a quarterback. The Cardinals situation is kind of interesting, and they haven't proven they can go the long haul. The 49ers will be good because they'll be tough. But I think the Rams will make the playoffs. But they got some breaks last season, not having to go to Green Bay. A miracle great play against the Buccaneers, and coming back against the Bengals. So they did everything they had to do last year. But again, you got to go back to 2004 to find a team that was able to repeat. It's just not that easy in the NFL.
Play nice there in Cincinnati, Gary, okay?
Will do, Dan. Thanks very much.
Yeah, don't take on a Cincinnati reporter. I just, neutral corners there. Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
That's Gary Klein. He's joining us from Cincinnati. Now, he thinks no punishment, which, look, I'm not calling for it. I'm just speculating that, is there going to be? Would there be? Should there be? If the NFL was going to govern this, then I have to believe the NFL would punish Aaron Donald because of the public reaction to this. That's what the NFL bases, it feels like, their punishment on sometimes.